So we'll do this. Welcome everyone to another thrilling week here on the Daily Success Call. John Lavinia here with you and with a bunch of awesome people, some brand new people too. I see you guys. Welcome to all of you. Glad you are here. Let me hold on a second. Let me kill the sound. I'm listening to myself talk. Okay, great. Let's look at a few of the awesome people we got here. Hopefully you had a great weekend. I see Maggie's couch, right? There's Mark. Good to see you, Mark. Missy, yep. Linda, Amber's here. Michael, of course. Rose, welcome. Vernice, I'm glad we had that conversation last week. That was awesome. Luna's here. Liz, Maggie. Hey, Lou, good to see you. Rachel is here. Jan and Pauline, good to see Celine and Laura. Nancy, Kim, of course. Insuk is here. Leanna, welcome. Sarah, Shari, and Jill, and more people than I could fit on 3 screens at this point. Woo. So glad to be here with you all. We're going to have a fun meeting today. I got some ideas that I want to share with you. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me mute the background noise. A couple things right at the outset. It has been a whirlwind of a weekend. I've got a bunch of inbound communication. I've got emails to handle and people left me messages. I took the weekend and I had a weekend. All right, that's what I did. I actually did something that I suggested you all do. I've suggested it before. Some of you are very new here, so you may not have heard this. But the idea of clearing out the old and making way for the new, I went through my closet and there were clothes in there that I hadn't worn in well over a year. So there's no excuse, oh, it's out of season or, it's summertime or whatever. No, haven't worn it in over a year. Out. Right. So some of this stuff I paid a lot of money for too, but it's just not, I don't feel like $1 million when I wear it. Poof, gone. So I got bags of clothes going out. So that's something I did. In addition to riding my Harley to a little breakfast, little hole in the wall place and just doing the biker eating breakfast thing, it's very therapeutic for me. I don't know how many of you get therapy out of that, but I certainly do. That being said, lots of inbound communication. So I am here to help everyone. So just stand by. I'm going to get back to everyone who's waiting to hear back from me today. But I did have a weekend for myself, which was necessary for my own sanity. What else? We have, just before we went live here, we have some people dealing with technical problems and outpoints. We want to make sure everything's in and working. Okay. So anything you notice that is a confusion isn't profitable. Okay. So let's go ahead and make that known. There's the help desk, help@lowhangingecom.com. And now it's known, right? So document everything. One of the things that I had, I remember back when I was working in a corporation all those years ago, there was a directive from a very astute manager. And that was that if you come, with a problem, please also come with a proposed solution. Now, in that case, I wasn't dealing with technical. Okay, so I'm not expecting, or everyone on staff isn't expecting you to be a tech wizard or computer programmer. But if there's something you could think of, which would be, hey, maybe if we had a video that showed this way, like at the outset, right? So maybe that would be a good thing to add to the course. Go ahead and give your feedback. This is your experience. This is your program. So like own that. So if there's something you think is like a recurring theme where, people tend to have, that same question, or you're like Missy, you've become very, very helpful here in the group, because I know that you've really dug in and stuff and you've got certain things. And yet even you've got, here's the integration broke or something, which you don't know what that means. Okay. So obviously we need computer people on that, but still, if there's something that could be streamlined, you feel free to make a suggestion, right? help@lowhangingecom.com, and they can hear you. I like being heard. You guys like being heard, right? I mean, one of the things that we do here, back to present time. Happy Monday, Cynthia. One of the things that we do in present time is we get together as a group and we can be heard. And here in this group, right, in this particular forum, where all members are welcome, and the public for that matter. We're broadcasting on YouTube right now. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Public. You may not even be in this e-commerce deal. Hopefully you're getting something out of these talks. You probably are, you wouldn't be showing up, but glad you're here, right? So one of the things that I like to do in a group is be heard. In fact, in my mastermind group that I run, we actually have a session called Be Heard. And that's one where I sit there and listen, and other people ask questions and whatever you want. I'm just there for you. And when this whole thing started, this whole thing meaning, these sort of mastermind groups and doing this, not in this particular form, because this is, as you know, is new. We only started running this broadcast a couple months ago, like 2 months. That's it. And there was 1 or 2 people on our first session. We've got a couple more than that on right now. So welcome everyone. But all of this was born of 20 something years ago when I started running groups like this in various capacities with different organizations. Was born of the idea that you've got a voice and that you're important and that you're not alone. And I'm going to reveal something to you today, which isn't something that is on my mind a whole lot, but I need to go back some decades now to my early beginnings in, I'm just going to say personal development, which is a broad term. Okay. So as you study your course material, you're developing yourself, you're becoming more able to do things in the e-commerce world. So that counts as personal development, learning, right? In fact, that's the surest way to increase and to improve your self-esteem is learn something new every day, right? That is, and then journal about it, right? Actually write down what you learned that day so you can acknowledge yourself, so you can hear yourself say it, right? Oh, look, because what you validate expands, right? Let me validate that I learned something. I learned how to do the Etsy thing. Good stuff. That's good self-esteem right there. People of low self-esteem don't make the effort to reach and to learn and to do these sorts of things, right? They just sit there and, I guess watch 7 hours of Netflix a day. So here you are, you're producing more, right? You're learning. That's great. But when I got my start in this whole area of personal development, it was out of necessity. It was, now we're going back 30 something years. Yeah. 35 years. I was miserable. I was a troubled youth and purposeless and just running the streets and really nothing, really no direction in my life and no mentors, no real friends, rough childhood. Okay. And I don't get into that, because I'm not here to talk about, let the dead bury the dead. Okay. But my on-ramp to personal development was via a group of people, in this case, 12-step fellowships, where people get together and now they're not alone anymore. And here's the instruction, here's the doctrine, right, of how to, live sober and clean lives and all this. You can apply this into your life and get your life working better. But that was part of it. So the instruction or the training or the doctrine is one piece of it. The other piece of it is the fellowship, the recognition that you are not alone. Michael, Pauline, Missy, Chris, right? You're not alone. You're not that unique. You're not the first person who's suffered through, whatever story you have about your life, right? So you got all kinds of people showing up, but with common purpose to get their lives working. Okay. And you, being that you're not alone, you're also, a valuable part of all that. And so for me, this was terribly therapeutic for me. And it worked. Okay. And that is that I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Not only was there, people who were living more resourceful and purposeful lives than me, but they also were willing to communicate with me. The worst place to be, I think, is alone in anything. And so right now, just before we went live here, we were talking about technical issues, which you of your own accord may not be able to solve. Right. So the gentleman who I just met, who was saying, yeah, there's some out point on the video or something. Sorry, I'm just meeting you, but so I don't recall your name. But the idea that you would have to solve all that by yourself, that's rough, right? If you look at how people in that world where I just mentioned 12-step fellowships, or prior to showing up at a meeting or something, here are people drinking themselves to death. They are utterly alone. Utterly. Okay. Now this isn't a conversation about, living sober, although soundness of mind, right? I mean, that's, I think, a prerequisite to succeeding at any of this. So, but in that case, that could get to a very desperate state. And that, in fact, there was a conversation I think you guys will find this interesting, and not to get too lofty or sentimental here, but there was this radio station where Mother Teresa was doing there was like a fundraiser and some event in some city here in the United States, and so they were putting out the word, and then the guy who's running the microphone, the one of the broadcasting people there, he was like, "Is there anything else that I could do to serve the mission?" And he seemed very intent on, here's money, that's fine, so here's some money, okay, but is there something more I could do? And what Mother Teresa said, she said, go out into the street and find somebody who's alone and convince them that they're not. That was her instruction, if this guy really wants to do something profound. And so now I know that this isn't like a crisis management group or self-help bunch of drunks sitting around trying to figure out how to not drink themselves to death. Okay. But it's the same principles that apply. So when I started doing masterminding and now, of course, here we are online and Zoom and technology and all this, none of this tech existed before, but it all came from that same sort of approach where we've got a common purpose now. And thank you for that, because the most miserable you could be, I think, is purposeless. And you've probably seen people in your life who are just purposeless, right? What's for breakfast, and as soon as they're eating breakfast, what's going to be for lunch? I mean, nothing happening, right? Whereas me, and I'm not saying that this is right, it's just me, I look at food and sleep as inconveniences of having a body. All right, I got to do it, I'll do it. I just had some granola before I came up between sessions, right? So that we have a purpose, which is spectacular, that we have one, whatever it is for you. All right. But there's some commonality of that, which leads us to the other thing, which is, all right, now that we've got, a reason for showing up, who are we showing up with? And so what I have found, here's the thing, guys and gals, I have found that because we are in business for ourselves in various capacities, right? You guys, some of you know, I run four businesses. I'm a madman. I'm all over the place. Okay. But because we're in business for ourselves and we're not getting what I would call instant gratification of punching a clock and, here's your paycheck, regardless of the quality of work that you've done, because we don't have that so-called security or predictability of that. And because there is such a thing as delayed or deferred gratification. In other words, the fact that you planted a seed today doesn't mean you're eating corn in 15 seconds. Okay. And you're smart. You understand a bit of deferred gratification. Okay. We're not looking for microwave results here. But because of that, I think it's even more important that you start getting paid in other ways. So the recompense, right? The money, the currency of, dollars and pounds and euros and whatever. Yes, that comes, of course, right? Here's money, right? We're dealing with a marketplace, and there's millions being bought and sold every single day on the internet. Millions. Okay, so that currency exists, but what other currency could you make sure is coming your way? How can you get paid right now? And I'm here to tell you that it is through, and this has been my experience, it is through the fellowship of other on purpose people. This is why drunks can put down the bottle. This is why addicts can not die in the gutter, right? Here's purpose, right? Here's some training. Here's a doctrine, okay? And here's you not doing it alone. For me, that is so friggin' profound, so profound. And it's got proof of concept, right? That's the other thing. When you show up in a business environment like this, right? Understand you're not betting on somebody else's experiment, right? I mean, if you want proof of concept, how many friggin' testimonials do you need? My goodness. And how about you? I heard somebody the other day, they were all excited about where they're going with this whole business and, selling stuff online and coffee mugs and t-shirts and all this stuff. But their spouse was antagonistic, thinks it's a scam. And so I said, do they ever shop online? Oh yeah, every day. We got Amazon showing up here every single day. There's another cardboard box on our front door. Oh, and say they order online. Oh yeah. Okay. So are we not seeing it? So are we saying then that we can be consumers only, but you've got no part to play in that game as a producer? I mean, does this even make sense? I mean, you can't have You can't have heads without tails. You can't have up without down. You can't have buyer without seller. Proof of concept, smacking you in the face. Do we need to have a conversation or something? Do we need to look at the cardboard box? Do you need to like take the cardboard box inside and say, this is a cardboard box that you ordered online? But you know, people see through their filters. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing that we get when we get together and don't attempt to do this all alone, is that we get to experience additional perspectives. For much of my earlier part of my path, and you see this a lot in like teenagers, which I was when I first started getting into, you know, seeking instruction and having a more purposeful life and fellowship and all this. But one of the things that I noticed was that I was attached to my rightness about stuff, my perspective, and it was very important for me to be right. You know, because I was lacking that self-worth, right? I talked before about, you know, how to increase your self-esteem, right? You know, learn something new every day. That doesn't mean you're sitting there asserting your rightness. That means you shut your friggin' mouth and listen and learn. Okay. And then now you can know stuff, right? And then maybe assist others. But it is, I think for people who are, and this is just my own autobiography here, but I think for people who are newer on the path, whatever path that is, they don't want to be a newbie for long. And so there comes a point where, and some people say fake it till you make it. I don't think that works. In fact, I know it doesn't. Okay. But there comes a point where you actually do know, and then you don't need to assert your rightness so much. Lao Tzu said, those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Right. So I had to take a look at that. And I'm pretty far afield of e-commerce right now. But I'm here to tell you that if you want to go faster, acknowledge that you don't know, and be the student, right? And ask. Hence, making known whatever outpoints, whatever confusions or problems, ask. And if you got a suggested answer, go ahead and suggest, hey, maybe we can have a video on this. You know, there's a whole staff of people here making this whole thing happen. They'd love to hear from you. Just know that you have a voice and that you're not alone in all this. Okay. And because you're in the trenches, right, you could see stuff. Look, if you know, if there was like some guru person in an ivory tower telling people, you know, look, the sky is red and you all should behave and live your life like the sky is red. Okay. They don't see the sky themselves, but then there's all these people, right? And they're saying, no, the sky's blue. You know, there's going to come a point where there's going to have to be some communication that gets up into the tower and says, hey man, you need to go ahead and tweak your instructions. The sky's actually blue. That's how it's occurring right now. Maybe when you wrote the scrolls or something, it was red, but you know, time has gone on. Okay. So that's sort of a thing, like working with what is, being objective about it. Okay. And knowing, here's the thing that comes with all of this, is knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The thing for me that got me on this path and kept me on this path for 30 something years now of, you know, self-discovery and, you know, business success, right? That's a natural outbranching of that, right? Certainly we get our own lives in order to whatever degree. I'm talking for myself now. Okay. Well, what else could I get in order? Well, how about let's go make some money? How about we go live a life by design? And not, you know, of just obligation and drudgery or whatever. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Well, let's learn some more stuff then. Okay, but there gets a point where you just become it. You have the carrot in your face, because now you can see the carrot. Without a purpose, you can't even see the goal, right? There's no goal. Okay, so now I can see the carrot, and if I just keep focused on that, I'm going to find myself going faster and faster and attracting circumstances and people and situations, which you guys are doing, by the way, to you that can assist you in accelerating that whole process. And if not for that, you wouldn't have shown up here. Look, you could start right now. Any individual with an internet connection can go to Etsy.com or any of the platforms, or start their own, right? And attempt to start selling stuff on the internet. I mean, after all, in the age of COVID, isn't everybody online? It can't be that complicated, right? All right, go do whatever you want to do. I can tell you that it's a jungle out there. No, Amazon pun intended. Okay. So there is, yes, there are more complicated and much more costly approaches you can take than the one we have here. That doesn't mean this is an effortless victory or anything. No, no. Okay. But I'll tell you what, the path of the student is way faster than the path of the pioneer. Thank goodness we've got experienced people, and course material and everything else. Okay. And thank goodness that you're in this group. So that's what's coming up for me today. As we look and we start our week, and as I start my week with a bunch of emails and voicemails and everything else that I need to address, while at the same time handling everything else, I got to know that, as Solomon said, where there are no oxen, the stable is clean. Right? We've got oxen. We're making stuff happen here. Okay, so hang on for the ride, buckle your seatbelt, and insert whatever metaphor you like. Just know you're in the right place and know that you've got a voice in all this. I am fully expecting anyone who's in this conversation, you have full license to be the future of this thing here. This is not the totality of your your e-commerce experience or career or whatever, right? This is an on-ramp, just like my on-ramp into what I've dedicated my life to, which is working with entrepreneurs and coaching and writing books and all this kind of stuff. My on-ramp was out of desperation. Here's some guy who as a youth, right, was almost dead, right? That's how my life was working. It wasn't. Okay. So that was my on-ramp. Well, you know what? We keep progressing. We can keep adding modalities, right? Rachel now is a beautiful example, right? She's got all these enterprises that she runs. Okay. And some are with, e-commerce, and some are outside of that. But it's all for the bigger purpose of her expressing herself in the marketplace and as a person who can provide benefits and value to people who are looking for those sorts of benefits. How about you? I know we got some authors on here. You haven't written the book yet. How about you? I know we got some people who are going to be starting some community projects. You haven't started them yet. What do you need to do that? A little bit of money, some leveraged income, so you're not consumed by the job at the cubicle. Assuming you can even show up at the job these days, right? Who the hell knows what's going on? Fortunately for all of you, you've made a decision to be here. So it's a powerful decision. Oh my goodness. Because the alternative, right? Go it alone. Good luck. I'm really, I honor this group. Thank you all for being a part of this and for helping me start my week with some arguably sane people. That jury's still out on that, but especially when I look at people like Michael. But anyway, yeah. Love you, brother. Itunu, you've got your hand up. Come on out, Itunu. We're going to have some conversation here. Be heard, my friend.
Hi, John, and everybody. Hi. Thanks a lot. I wanted to ask about the launch 100 because we've been asking Adam about it. It seems he doesn't have any information. He said we should ask you. Okay. We sent email. I personally sent email to Karen, the email address he gave us, but nobody responds to that email. So I want to know what it entails, to get into launch 100. Yeah.
Okay, that is an invitation-only advanced program. I will be happy to speak with you about it personally. If you're not getting a response, there's an out point right there. So you just made that problem known. I'm going to solve your problem. Do you have my email address, Itunu?
No.
John L. at knowledgesource.com.au. Takes me a little while to type that, but I will attempt to do that now. Anyone who needs to get in direct communication with me for the purposes of e-commerce, John L. at knowledgesource.com.au. Bam. There it is in the chat. Okay.
Okay.
Email me, Itunu, and we will have a conversation. Okay. Because this is not the first time you've asked that. Because I remember going back some weeks. Wasn't it you who was saying, hey, where's Karen and what did this and that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. See, I got that. Remember, it's one of the joys of being sober is that you can remember stuff. It's spectacular.
You remember?
All
Thank
right.
you.
Oh, you're so welcome. We had Rose. Rose got her hand up. Hey, Rose, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Oh, now that I'm hanging out with you, my life is great. Yeah.
Thanks very much for your help over that conversation about the lounge and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I've got a question. I don't know if it's a question really, because I've signed up about 3 weeks ago, or just about weeks ago, and now I've started to put some things in practice. And for me, as you probably read my stuff and we talk about it, the mindset is one of the most important things. I do believe that I think is even 50% of the whole success that we can have, or even more. I don't know. But and I was very like, I can do that, da, 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 da. But then I've started to put in practice. I made some designs. And as English is not my first language, so I asked my husband to have a look at the grammar to make sure everything is all right to put on, and started to look into the processes and stuff. And somehow I just really overwhelmed. I thought I was going to be like, no, I can do it. And wouldn't be like, but at the moment I feel like, oh, am I going to be able to do that? Because I was reading, even on Facebook group, they're so helpful there, but there's so much information. So I don't know. I don't know do you have any tips that I can go for it? Because your mindset is much more advanced than mine. So I don't know. I just feel like because I'm starting now, I just feel like, am I going to be able to do that? Even though last week I was sure. And so I hope you understand my point.
I do.
Here.
Yeah, and your English is great, and we've had conversations. And so here's the thing is that if I'm in a state of confusion, there's some word or concept that I don't understand, or that I've assumed the meaning of. Sometimes it comes down to like even a word. So, all right, let me go ahead and get really clear about what the teacher or whatever the author is trying to tell me. So go back into your course material and see what you missed. All right, because if you're feeling like dragging, like you're feeling slow or tired with it, then there's something that you're not getting the full conceptual understanding of. Okay, and then make that known into the help desk. Okay, but the other thing is if you want a tip on terms of like getting guidance from the Facebook group, there's how to do a search. You know how to click the little magnifying glass on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thought maybe you were just scrolling through countless posts or something. And no, you just search for words, right? And then
the Facebook is great. What I mean is, it's just me now. I just overwhelmed. I don't know how to explain. It's like I'm kind of doubting myself that am I going to be able to do that? And it's nothing got to do with technology and stuff. I'm not tech pro, but I'm quite advanced, and I'm fine. I'm not like, oh, I can't do it.
Okay.
I'm not able. It's just me. I don't know. It's very weird.
So it's just a mindset thing. Okay.
It's a mindset thing. I don't know if it's normal. Everybody had the same, but I was so sure. It's like, I can do that and I'm going to be great. And then now I just feel like, oh, really?
Okay. So, well, two things that I'll offer you. And then we're going to hear from Susan. I think I saw another hand up, but couple of things is with the mindset, you've got to always keep the carrot in front of your face, right? Like, the donkey with the carrot, right? So here's where we're going. Look there. So that's something you can do for yourself by being very clear, very specific about your goals and treating them as they are a guaranteed future outcome. So this is like some mindset stuff that you can do, which I've done. And when I remember to do it, I go faster. Okay. And with less doubt, because there's many people engaged in the same enterprise can have totally different results. The main reason is themselves. Okay. So yes, mindset is the vast majority of this, knowing that you can. We talked about this last week. We quoted Wallace Wattles that if you do, this is from the book, The Science of Getting Rich. If every action you do is efficient and successful, then your whole life will be a success. What makes an action efficient and successful? Your focus is on your purpose. We talked about purpose. Okay. Without that, you got no shot. and faith that you can actually accomplish these purposes, right? So purpose and faith, keep that focus as you're doing these little tasks, which may or may not be technical. Okay. So that's where the mindset thing comes in. The other thing, Rose, is that I have found for myself is that I have the tendency to waffle. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, where you kind of like, yeah, no, like that maybe that gray area when I'm not fully committed. When I'm like all chips in, burn the boats, and I know some people do or don't like the metaphors, okay, but when there's no turning back, like when I got my start in personal development, turning back means there's the gutter, you can go die, or whatever, right? So that was pretty life and death. Well, what if we raised our necessity level to the point where, we have to succeed now? For me, what this was committing myself beyond logic. So I was, when I was looking to become successful in business, I could do like a part-timer approach or whatever, and, put a few $1,000s, towards it or whatever. And then there was, opportunity for me to really burn the boats. And it was like tens of thousands of dollars that I didn't have and my full attention. And once I made that commitment, I had a whole different experience. It was like I was a different person. For me, that's how it worked, was there was no turning back. And so now it's not I'll try or maybe or any of this other milquetoast, gray area stuff. It's like all chips in and bam, started making money. So scary, unreasonable, did it anyway. And here I am, millions of dollars later. So I hope that helps you. It's kind of it's shocking yourself out of your own mindset. It's kind of like, no, shock yourself right out of it. No more time to Q&A with yourself about secondary and tertiary considerations. Yeah, right. We're going to get it done. You're awesome, Rose. Glad you're here. And you're glowing. I love your smile. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
I tried. Thank you, John.
Oh, you're so welcome. We got time for a couple more. I see Susan and then Jan, and I thought I saw others, but I'm not seeing them now. So Susan, please. Susan.
Hi there. Hi, John.
There she is.
So, okay, first of all, you are not alone in that feeling of being overwhelmed. I spent the first 3 weeks of the material going in a million different directions, feeling completely unproductive. But as I started going to the daily calls, I started to realize that if I learned something while I was doing it, then that was the win. Not the fact that I didn't produce a product or I didn't put something in Etsy. I got really stressed out watching the Facebook people with their, I got a sale, and I had nothing. So I was totally stressed out. But the technology is an overwhelming moment. So if you're comfy with tech, awesome. And then it's go through the material again. Sorry, I'm outside, obviously. Go through the material again. I've had to go through that stuff. I went past the startup page and just went to the other things after the first few days, because it was like, there's got to be more than the startup page. Yeah, there is. Lots more details, lots more videos, lots more help, answering. You're okay. That's pretty much where you're supposed to feel like after the first few days. And John, I want to thank you for these, because this is the group, the first humans I talk to in my day. So it's very interesting. And I love listening to the stories. So thank you. And by the way, thought you'd get a kick out of this one about when you mentioned money and how much to invest. And we had that conversation when you and I spoke. I start to put my lattes in terms of Etsy listings. So I am giving up lattes. Like if I'm gonna nickel and dime 20 cents, then let's put it in perspective. So if my $5 latte, how many Etsy's is that? And that just makes me laugh. So thank you for changing my mindset.
So glad you're here, my friend. Thank you for that. This is just the beginning. So here we go. All right. I do see Michael and Annette. Hey, Michael, come on out, my friend.
Hello. So I finally got all that Denver emails done. I blew through all of those 7 videos and all the assignments so we can have our meeting today. And one of the things that you brought up today, I noticed that you had a Bible reference in there. I don't think anyone actually caught that. Let the dead bury the dead. I'm like, that's straight out of the Bible. That's what Jesus said. So I'm like, that's pretty interesting.
He knew stuff. Yeah.
So what I wanted to focus on was you were talking about reading and keeping up on different things. And these last couple of videos, the Earl Nightingale and Simon Sinek, and there was another one in there with, I think it was the Napoleon Hill. All of them had a lot of commonalities about just what we're talking about today. Again, you can go alone, you can go fast, and there's a point where you're going to be doing, 90 to 100% of the work is going to be on your back. Okay. Or you can go far, go with your team, work with your mentors, work with people who are going to support you, and work as a group with people you can talk to, people you can rely on. What Rose was just saying earlier about feeling a little overwhelmed. Yes, we're all going to feel that way at times. And what Earl was saying was that you're always going to turn those thoughts into positivity. You want to guard against any kind of negativity whatsoever. And work that out. I was like, okay, so that might be the situation where we're going to throw that feeling out and we're going to replace that with something positive. And I think that's a lot of what we need to do, even when things are really garbagey. Think about that silver lining. It's the here's the guy with no shoes. Well, where's the guy with no feet? It can always be worse. If we look the other direction, it can always be better. And saying, you know what, I could be on the street. I could be without food. I could be, there's always some way you can kind of turn it around to reflect the positivity of your situation. And I think that was really important. When I heard you say about, again, going alone is lonely. Going as a group is beneficial because you get all these other things that are included. I did online studies at university. The first part was in class study. It is surprising how much you get from people just chit-chatting. And when you're online, without that, you're, again, very much on your own, doing what your own thing is. So you miss out on a lot of kind of stuff. So the group, the mastermind, things like that really is valuable. So just want to kind of point that out.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'll keep showing up and facilitating this group. Glad you're here, brother.
Thank you.
So we could be some of the first humans that Susan experiences in her day. She thinks we're human. What?
What? What's up with that?
A bit presumptuous. Yeah.
Looks like a duck. It sounds like a
I'm
duck.
just visiting this
Oh,
planet. I'm just visiting.
Annette, take us
Hi.
home tonight. Annette, what's going on?
Okay, well, a couple of things. First of all, talking about loneliness, thank you so much. I realized that when I get into the loneliness, I get into depression and it is gone as soon as I'm not lonely anymore. Yesterday, a few people came by and it energized me because I had a few people to cook for. And, if I'm alone, I don't feel like cooking, but all these people, and I cooked up a storm. That's an example of it. And that is how I quit smoking, Nicotine Anonymous, 13 years ago. And I plan to start up a local group now that COVID's done, or working on that to help other people, the service. And finally, even the last time I talked to you, John, the tenant from hell was still downstairs. I've had a look at it. The sheriff removed him 1 year and 6 months in Ontario to get him out of my house.
My goodness.
Running drugs, the police knew it, everybody knew it, but still it was like, we can't do anything. It was absurd, theater of the absurd, or whatever the phrase is. So the carrot is that I am not recommending I got to say, I will not recommend real estate to people anymore. That's where I was going with it. I had some real estate units. I'm not going that one direction anymore. No. Just
Okay.
as even my own minister said, about all the drug addicts and people, he said, I don't bring them into my home. I help them, I minister to them, but they're not my home. That's my sanctuary. So a thing to everyone, let's keep our homes a sanctuary where we, as we all are, and hopefully to work from and grow ourselves in this program, because the carrot for me is make my home a sanctuary and be free to travel the world and not be alone in a wonderful place with you wonderful people here. Thank you all.
Thank you, my friend. Annette, I've got a client and friend up in Ontario who is moving right now. And she said that she was walking into her apartment building and there was a prostitute getting changed in the vestibule right there. And then there's the guys shooting up on the street. And I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah.
More good reasons for you to go ahead, make some money, get a nice homestead out in the countryside or something.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you. And then we can get together here with sane people and do the online thing. So glad to see you all. What a great start to our week. I did see a couple
Mhm.
people requesting my attention in the chat. LG Stylo 6, please send me an email. Anybody who needs direct attention from me. Okay. So I put my email in the chat
Okay.
before.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sound good? I gotta run. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Okay. Make it a great day. You absolutely